Hello and welcome to the Jamie and Steven Show. Let's talk movies, music and magic.
Yes, you got it right.
Yay!
Yeah, that's twice in a row.
Twice, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think I finally got it. What number are we on?
Well, we're on the 17th classic. Well,
Oh, so 18th podcast.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, so the 17th.
17th, which is 101 Dalmatians.
Yeah.
It's the first film of the 1960s.
Yes.
And the first film fully utilising a new animation technique.
Yes, which we'll get into
Which we'll
later.
get into in a bit.
Yeah, released in 1961.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on the book by Dodie Smith.
Yep.
Which, again, we'll get into her later.
Mm-hmm.
I've not read the original book, have you?
No.
No.
No, I
Was
only
it
read the...
a book that was even
No.
a thing when I was at school?
It was the Disney one.
Yeah, even that. Like, unless I had the book at home. Like
Yeah, I
in
only had
school,
it at home,
And
yeah.
considering she's British,
Yeah.
and it's quite, like it's a 20th century book, it's not an old book.
Did you know there's a sequel? A
What, to
sequel
the
book?
book?
Yeah.
No. Is it
Yes.
Scamp's Adventure?
No. No, it's got nothing to do with the other
Oh no, Scamp's
thing.
Lady and the
That's
Tramp.
Lady and the Tramp's
Oh, Patch's Adventure.
Patch's
that
London
was
Adventure, but it's
It's
not
nothing to do
the
with Patch.
no. So basically, all the humans are asleep, and the dogs are not affected by this thing that makes them sleep,
Oh.
and the dogs have to protect planet Earth from aliens.
No way.
Hand on heart. So the book came out roughly at the time that Walt Disney passed away, and Walt actually got the rights to the original book, wanted to do more work with Dodie,
Can't see Walt do it.
wanted to do...
Number 2.
Well, it would have been... I actually think it would make a good idea, but not as a sequel to this.
No. It's like its own
Yeah.
separate book.
It's the same characters.
God.
Yeah, I can't imagine it.
No.
No.
Turned it into a sci-fi.
Yeah. It was very...
You've gone from like a romance to
Yeah.
a sci-fi.
Yeah.
Very strange. Right, so IMDb synopsis. So for those who have no idea what Dalmatians is about,
I think at this point, just go and watch the film.
when a litter of Dalmatian puppies are abducted by the minions of Cruella de Vil, the owners must find them before she uses them for a diabolical fashion statement.
Dun dun dun! Not quite true, is it?
Well, it's a very dramatic
Yeah.
synopsis.
Yeah. And it's the parents, not the owners.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those owners literally ring up Scotland Yard and go, someone's nicked a few of my
And they
puppies.
make tea.
And then, yeah, that's what they do. And then the dogs are like, are we not going to ask around? Are we not going to, do anything?
So what's your synopsis then?
A woman steals 15 puppies, and then their owners steal 84 from her.
Ooh!
She buys the rest of those puppies
Does she
outright. Yeah. In the bit where they get, and there's like, it's the Sergeant Tibbs, the cat, goes in and goes, oh, are you the puppies? They're missing. But it's like, no, we're from the pet shop. Bought and paid for.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because she did originally...
She wanted to buy them, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, that's a good
Thieves!
point. Yeah.
Thieves! Again, we're proving that the villains are not the villains. This is Captain Hook situation all over again.
I don't know, turn them into fur coat is pretty bad.
Yeah, there's that. But then we eat meat.
I know.
You looked at me then as if to go, wow, that's
Yeah,
deep.
that's a debate for another time. Or
Yeah.
someone else's podcast.
Yeah.
It's an hour and 19 minutes.
Yes.
So we're now getting over the hour and a quarter and we're getting closer to an hour and 20.
Mm-hmm.
It cost $4 million.
Mm-hmm.
And now, when I had to double check this because I felt that this number seemed really big. But this is, as of now, So from all the re-releases
Yeah.
and all the
I know what you're
videos,
going to say.
it's made 215 million.
Isn't it something like in the top so many grossing films of all time?
Which
like,
is... Well, yeah. But we'll get to the very end to find out if we think,
whether that deserve
that's about right. It should have made that much.
So when it was re-released in 1991, it was the 20th highest earning film of that year in the US.
Oh, right. And it was a re-release.
It was a re-release.
Yeah,
now, obviously, Beauty and the Beast beat that at the cinemas.
Yeah.
But 20th. And that was a re-release. It wasn't even the first re-release
either.
either.
And then there was... Because, like, obviously...
Videos.
There's videos as well. And more movies in the cinema.
Yes.
Because we have to remember, when all of these animated films, up until, say, now, we'll say...
Yeah.
Like, when he first started doing them, there wasn't exactly much choice for people to go...
Not for families. Cause
I think in general, like, if it's like, oh, what shall we go to the cinema to see? There would have maybe been 5.
5 blockbuster, I think...
In the, like, 40s, 50s.
Yeah,
Whereas now, there's, like, 20?
It's mainly shorts around that time.
Yeah,
You had a lot more shorts, so...
So, like, obviously, when, like, they flop and when they don't flop, it's like, well, there's not much competition or not much other options for people. So when they go to the cinema that night, you know, whether it be on a date or with the family, you know, it would have been out of, you know, maybe 3 films.
I actually think 101 Dalmatians makes a really good date film.
Yeah, it does actually.
Fun. Like, yeah, I'd like to have gone on a date to see 101 Dalmatians.
Well,
Not
it
now.
starts off, you know, about finding...
Guess what it is?
What?
It's a Christmas film.
I know it's not.
It is.
No.
And I'll prove it a bit later.
It's not. It's set in November.
No, it's not.
Oh. I thought it was.
No, so the puppies are born in October. And by the time that the puppies grow their spots, it will be December. And Nanny at the end says, it's a Christmas miracle. Now, if that's not a Christmas film, I don't know what is. There's snow.
Okay, well, listeners, what do you think?
There's cornflake snow.
I know. I said it to Ben. I was like, oh, it's cornflake snow.
Snow.
Like, what?
Not the only fake snow used.
What, in this film?
Yeah. We'll get to that. We'll get to it.
Okay. But yeah, listeners, do you put this on at Christmas time? Is this one of your Christmas movies that you put on?
I don't think anyone does that, but
No.
It's a Christmas film.
Okay.
Set at Christmas time.
Right, cast. Mm-hmm. So, a couple of people that we kind of recognise and will see again.
Mm-hmm. Well, here again.
Yeah. So, Pongo is by Rod Taylor. Voiced by Rod Taylor.
So, Rod Taylor, he won a competition. He was an Australian actor. Okay. And he won a competition to go to London, but via the LA.
Oh, right.
And he went over to LA and that's where he stayed. He never made it to London. Later on, he was in The Birds. So the Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
And he was also offered the part of James Bond before Sean Connery.
Oh my God!
And he says every time a new James Bond film came out, obviously we're talking the era of blockbuster James Bond, he kicked himself. He was ashamed by the fact he turned it down. He wished he'd done it.
Oh my God!
Yeah. You'd be annoyed, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I don't know why he turned it down. I didn't get that far. Okay. But I was just very like...
Really interesting. I always thought that Sean Connery was like a first choice, but...
I think he was one of the first choices, but yeah, it was... Rod Taylor turned it down.
Wow. Yeah. Perdita she had a couple of different voices, so, and weren't anybody that went on to do anything.
She's a bit
major.
of a quiet one at the back.
Yeah. So yeah. Roger is voiced by Ben Wright.
Yeah.
Anita is Lisa Davis.
Well, Ben Wright.
I'll
just say with Ben Wright, I have never seen this film all the way through, but he plays Herr Zeller in The Sound of Music.
Yes, I've written that down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You had.
Because when we get to the facts, I'll tell you the fact, because I think someone else. There's 2 facts to do with The Sound of Music.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't have any.
That's related to 101 Dalmatians.
I don't think I had any more of those, but I did know that he returned for The Jungle Book. But now I can't remember what he returned The Jungle Book
when
to
we get to Jungle Book, then
we'll know.
Yeah.
However, what really did surprise me is he returned to an even later film. Can you guess what that is?
No.
Pick one out of the air. Later than this.
Animated. Oliver and Company.
Oh, so close.
Really?
So close.
It's a Black Cauldron.
Little Mermaid. He's
Oh.
Grimsby.
Oh.
The butlery kind of person for Eric. Yeah.
He's like, I would say, like, caretaker person.
Yeah.
He like looks after him, makes sure he's.
Yeah, his buddy.
Yeah. Oh, okay. God. So that's what older Roger sounds like.
Yeah.
What?
He died just before that film's release, though,
Oh.
in 1989. So he never got to see that finished film. So, but yes, that's what older Roger sounds like.
Okay. Yeah. Anita. So Lisa Davis. Apparently she nearly voiced Cruella.
Oh, did she?
But when she went in to do the part, she said to Disney, "Look, I don't think this is right for me." No, that's a lie. She did the acting. It was the reference.
Oh, the model work.
I think that was what it was. And then Disney nearly. He asked her if she wanted to be Cruella, and she didn't think that she was right.
Right for
but
it.
she said, "What about Anita?" So she read for Anita, and Disney said, "Yeah."
I will say with this film, I did notice, and not so much with the last one, but the female characters, despite there being quite a lot, don't really have. There's only Cruella.
Yeah.
She's the only one who's got any kind of character. The others don't, and you could say, "Oh, Nanny does," but
yeah, yeah.
You know, she's a really small
Stereotype
part.
Nanny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, when it comes to like Anita, Perdita, and all of that, it just they're just blasé characters.
Agree. I definitely feel Pongo is stronger.
Pongo's the lead.
Yeah.
Pongo is the lead.
Yeah. So getting to the other characters, so I've got the Colonel, Jasper, and the mechanic is all voiced by Pat O'Malley.
Yes.
And Nanny, Queenie, and Lucy are by Martha Wentworth.
Lucy the Goosey.
Lucy, that's it. Yeah. And yes, so Cruella DeVille and Miss Birdwell.
Yes.
Which is her.
What's My Crime?
What's My Crime is Betty Lou Gerson.
So just to go over those with a few bits that I have with Colonel and Jasper, so Pat O'Malley, Dick Van Dyke actually claimed that he was his vocal coach for Mary Poppins.
Oh!
So he is to blame.
Right, okay. I don't think it's that bad.
God-awful voice. Martha Wentworth, so Nanny, she went on to play Madame Mim.
Yes, which is the next one.
Which is the next one.
Yeah.
Cruella was the narrator, so Betty Lou Gerson was the narrator at the beginning of Cinderella.
Yes.
She became a Disney legend in 1996, and she also appeared in Mary Poppins as the old crone. So she's on the steps, feed the birds.
Oh my God, that's her.
her.
Oh. Well, when I was reading about who Cruella de Vil was based on,
yes.
Mark Davis said that he mainly based her on Tallulah Tallulah Bearhand.
Do you know what? There are some fans out there who are going to absolutely crucify you.
Why?
Not
I'm
me,
not
I don't
saying
know.
it right.
Yeah, I don't know.
And when I looked her up, I didn't really think she looked that much like Cruella de Vil.
No.
But I was like, why do I know her face?
Mm-hmm.
And have you ever seen Annie?
Tamara? No.
Right, so...
Look at me singing, that's twice now.
In Annie, she gets taken to the cinema.
Okay.
And the film that she goes to see stars Tallulah.
Okay.
And it's one of her hits. I can't remember what it is, but yeah. And when I looked into her, I was like, oh my God!
That's her.
That's her! That's in the film that Annie goes to see. And
In the film.
nothing to do with 101 Dalmatians, but yeah, So, but no, I didn't think she looked that... I know she's got high cheekbones and the pencil drawn eyebrows, but that's pretty much it.
I know that he kind of based some of it with Betty Davis.
Oh, yeah.
Which you can see a little bit more personally. With the eyebrows and
Do you know what it is? It's because now, based on, and we will get to it in the end, but because Glenn Close was just so perfect and looked like her, it's almost as if Cruella was based on Glenn Close. Even though Glenn Close wasn't an actress then and wasn't... And
when was Glenn Close born?
I'm not sure, but...
Was she born around this time?
She didn't become an actress until the 70s.
She wasn't.
And obviously, she was well known until the 80s. But, yeah. But anyway. Right, so, did you have anything else about the cast? Or shall we get into the juicy facts?
Not about the cast. I have a little bit more about Cruella.
Okay.
He also based certain bits on Betty Lou Gerson, which is Mark Davis, and he claimed that she had the best... So her voice was the greatest he had ever worked with.
Oh.
He loved her voice, and I agree. It's everything it needs to be.
I know. And yet, you can't imagine her speaking so softly at the start of Cinderella.
Yeah. It's just completely wrong.
It sounds like she's a smoker.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
Like you can, the voice of someone who smoked since she was born.
It's a cackle.
Yeah.
That phlegmy cackle. The coat and the hair is actually in the original book.
Oh, okay.
However, it's exaggerated in the film, so it's bigger and things. The lining for the coat was made red, so it symbolised the devil.
Yeah.
And you'll notice her coat flows out quite a bit like a cape.
Yeah.
So it's very much that devil image. And later on in The Rescuers, Madame Medusa was influenced by Cruella. She was actually the inspiration.
Wasn't she drawn by Mark? No, she wasn't.
No, but it was very much... They wanted her to look like an aged Cruella.
Yeah.
Because Cruella's meant to be the same age as Anita.
I know. I know.
Either Anita's got a very, very good plastic surgeon.
Well, I think Anita and Roger are supposed to be maybe into their... Well, from what I can see, from watching the film, they must be supposed to be...
See,
in
I
their
thought they were.
30s.
I thought that they were younger. I see
Because
them as
it's
being
all,
quite.
because that's why like Pongo is so desperate for.
We know what
his
Pongo's
pet.
desperate for.
Yeah.
He looks out that window and pervs on every woman that walks past. A little old, maybe. So, whoa!
Yeah, even then, though, even if they are meant to be in their 30s,
Yeah.
Cruella still
It doesn't look like she's in the 30s. No, she looks a lot older than us.
Yeah,
she
she
is
looks more like
50s,
50s, early
60s.
60s.
Yeah.
Like my mum looks younger than Cruella.
Yeah.
And my mum's 64.
I think half of it is the high cheekbones
Yeah.
and the drawn on eyebrows and the hair.
And
Because
the
the hair's
cackly
obviously.
voice.
Yeah. It just.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, as another point, Anita claims that she too would like a fur.
Oh, yes, she does.
She does.
But she can't afford it.
She can't afford it. It's the
Yeah.
only reason
But at that
those puppies
time,
are alive. Dalmatian plantation, I know what that's for. She's like, oh, I've got my eye on that fat one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that patch. That'll make a really nice little purse.
Right.
So, and on that note,
Facts, yeah. So I found this quite like, I love when things are like based on real things. So like with the Hat Box and Lady and the Tramp,
yeah,
and Disney giving the dog as a gift, as an apology to Lillian and that sort of thing, and that was real, and he sort of said, put that in, that's a nice...
whack it in.
Yeah. And, the author, Dodie Smith, did the same, and she was an owner of Dalmatians, and her dogs did have a litter of puppies, and one was born lifeless, and her partner revived it. Yeah. The only difference is they didn't keep all the puppies, but they did.
Yeah,
keep
no,
some.
that's... Yeah.
I mean,
when he stood there and he's like, we'll keep in all 50s.
I know. It's like, really? You can't even
Really?
feed yourself.
I was going to say, it's
But
like...
to be fair, I'd be getting rid of the nanny to keep the dogs. But then,
Yeah.
how they've managed to have a nanny and
Yeah.
these puppies. Anyway. Yeah. The author, again, like I said, the book, it's quite current, as in, at that time, it wasn't very old. So, like,
No.
other stories that he quickly snapped up, like Toad in the Hall. No.
That one was about... When he snapped it up, it was about 30 years old. Dumbo
so similar to this.
was similar, and there was another one, I think Bambi as well. But yeah, this one was I think this has the shortest time from the book being
released. And apparently,
released.
after she had it published, she was hoping Disney would...
Yes, she did. She wanted...
How...
And she approved of everything Disney did.
So,
everything.
I mean, it's weird because nowadays it's quite common for, new books to be snapped up with a film.
Not in my experience,
Like
but okay.
well, not your shit. But it's almost like once a book's published, it's kind of like, well, how much longer until a film studio makes that sort of thing. But in those days, it was all about trying to make original screenplays and whatnot. And,
well, it was a new medium.
But, but Disney, really did keep an eye on all these stories. How he had time to read.
Well, it was others. Joe Grant, Mark Davis, they went out, toured the world. And his girls.
Yeah.
But they toured the world to find these books, and that's where they got things like Pinocchio and, this one, 101 Dalmatians, and Cinderella as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. Do you want to do one now?
Yeah, I can do. I've already mentioned my Christmas film. But the newspapers state that the year is 1959.
Which makes it modern.
Which, bear in mind, the film was released in 1961. Yeah, it's practically
Yeah,
it
present day.
happens. Yeah.
At the time that the film was released.
Yeah. It's literally like someone releasing a film in 2024 of 2022.
Yeah.
It's that close. So, I say it is the most modern one. They did have a bit of controversy at the time. Walt was very, very concerned about an aspect of the film. Can you guess what it is?
No, I don't know.
So obviously Cruella wants to kill puppies to make fur coats.
Yeah.
And obviously the puppies nearly freeze to death in the thing.
Yeah.
And the cat nearly gets strangled and there's violence with the other bits. His concern was that when Perdita and Pongo get married, it may offend religious viewers. So it all had to be toned down, and the dogs in the animation are moved outside, whereas originally they were meant to be stood next to their owners, because dogs cannot get married.
Okay.
And that was one of the things that he was adamant had to be changed. Yeah.
It seems like such a...
Bashing their heads doesn't...
Yeah.
Like, you know... Seems a little bit more, but never mind.
Okay. Well, we know that, obviously, we're now discovering that he was religious.
Yeah, so
and
that has an
that
aspect,
played a part.
There were some cut songs from the film.
Yeah.
So there was meant to be a lot more songs.
It's funny, I didn't really think it needed.
No, it didn't need any more songs. The Cruella de Vil's the main one.
Yeah. And just the music at the start, it's nice, it's fun.
Yeah.
Love the
Dots
the introduction.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, there was meant to be another song when the puppies are walking in the snow and the cold.
Oh.
And it was meant to be their
It just would have
sad
seemed
song.
silly.
It
Yeah.
would have been over the top.
Yeah.
There would be another song when all the puppies are in the back of that, like, moving van at the end.
Uh-huh.
That was going to be another song.
Okay.
And I'm so glad they cut this. There was going to be a song when Horace and Jasper were planning to kill the puppies.
Oh my god. Yeah, I think it would have been stupid if they'd made all those songs in the film.
Genuinely, I think the first two, I think if they did the puppies in the snow similar to what they do in The Rescuers, where it's someone singing over the top,
Yeah.
I think that would have worked. Escaping Cruella in the van, no. It's the dramatic moment, it would have slowed it down.
Yeah, and the score in the background of that whole thing is so powerful.
Yeah,
like,
didn't need...
No, it didn't need singing.
And the bit with the Horace and Jasper, I mean, we've spoken before about some of the songs not being as popular now or being released. Yeah, that one would have been like an infamous song. The song Cruella de Vil was written in 45 minutes.
Wow.
Walt did not like the original and basically sent the composer away and was like, you've got 45 minutes.
Okay.
So yeah, he wrote that. And there, even though the Dalmatian Plantation is listed as a song, and so is Canine Crunches.
Oh, it's like, oh yeah.
Canine Crunches was sung by Anastasia from Cinderella.
Uh-huh.
And Dalmatian Plantation contains 2 lines.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And then...
So that's the 2 songs.
The other... So I've got... I actually found loads of facts.
I had to minimalise what I wrote down.
Yeah. But seeing as how we've just spoken about the singing, I'll get into that fact about... You mentioned...
The Sound of Music.
The Sound of Music. So, Bill Lee, who was Roger's singing voice, he was also the singing voice for Captain Von Trapp in The Sound of Music. So it's not Christopher Plummer that's singing in the film. So, sorry for those who believe that he could sing so beautifully.
I've never seen it.
Have you not?
Seen it, no.
Oh.
I've seen bits of it, and it doesn't
yeah.
seem like the kind of thing that I'd like.
It's one of my mum's favourites, so I've had to watch it a lot. And then Ben Wright, who's his speaking voice, plays the Nazi Air Zeller, who we see, I think, at the concert. In the end. But it's weird that both his singing and speaking voice were also
in that film.
In The Sound of Music. So, yeah.
Am I right in saying that the Sherman Brothers also wrote... Oh no, that was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, that's fine. I was going to say, did they write that?
No.
Because I'm sure they wrote... But never mind.
No. The Cruella... Yeah,
Cruella
it was... So Cruella's model reference was Mary Wicks. Now, she goes on to voice another Disney character.
Mary Wicks.
35 years later.
Wow. Okay, so 61, 35 is 96. What came out in 1996? It was either The Hunchback or Mulan.
Hunchback.
No, Hunchback. Wasn't Mulan. That was 98.
So she's going to be old.
Old in The Hunchback. She wanted the gargoyles.
Yeah.
The older.
Yes.
Wow. I
know. Yeah.
God, that took a while. If anyone heard clicks, that was my brain going round and round.
Yeah. I mean, not the voice of Cruella, but the model. So she modeled the model reference. So she did like any acting bits for them to sketch out.
What I really like, and we'll get on this when we get to the Renaissance period, is they actually use bits from before. So that doesn't surprise me that there's that link.
Yeah.
Because we've mentioned the link about Grimsby being the older voice, and that will occur a lot when we're going through the Renaissance, as well as the return of someone behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I've got some bits on hidden Mickeys in the film.
Okay.
But if you've got more about Cruella or any of the characters.
Yeah, so Clarence Nash. Another
that
voice
name rings
you
a
should
bell.
recognise.
Yeah.
He does Donald Duck.
There we go, that's why.
He did all the dog barking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like, imagine, like, oh, Dad, what did you do? Well, I did all the dog barking.
I was
delicious. So, all the barking, the different barks that we get, he would have done all of them. Yeah. So, yeah, thankfully, the film did make money.
Yeah.
Because they were in debt after Sleeping Beauty, and apparently, if this was another flop, and I wrote it down that his brother Roy, did nearly convince him to stop with the animation department. So, the animation feature length films. So yeah, but I'll get to that.
Get to them in a bit.
In the next film.
Yes.
The dogs, so the Dalmatians, are actually light grey, not white.
Do you know what? I thought it was my eyes, because I'm colourblind for anyone who doesn't know. And I was looking at them and I was like, that's not white.
Yeah. Apparently it was because white was too bright. And then because they knew they would have the snow. Yeah. The snow scene.
Because the dogs are darker than the snow.
Yeah. But yeah, I really liked grey.
The dogs are darker than the cornflakes.
Yes, they are. So yeah, we touched on Jodie Smith, how she hoped that Disney would buy the rights to her film, and she had 9 Dalmatians of her own, including one named Pongo, and she got the idea for the story when a friend was visiting and made a comment because she had so many, and she'd said to her, these dogs would make a lovely fur coat. And after her friend made that comment, she then obviously put pen to paper and started writing and came up with the story. So yeah, again, another real life reference. The puppies, the friend making that comment. Okay, I'm not saying this friend's Cruella, but, you know. I mean, imagine that. Imagine she writes that book and her friend, I wonder if that friend ever asked her, is Cruella based on me?
Because I want royalties.
To be honest, she ain't the prettiest.
No,
I mean, he's drawn her really well, but she's not pretty.
No, it's made for that kind of where it's getting in from the 50s to the 60s, where it's very artsy, very bohemian.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying she nicked and tucked or anything like that, but you've got obviously those cheekbones. She's very, very skinny.
Yeah.
I mean, in a few years in the UK, we'd have Twiggy, and we'd have singers, and
she's 60s, Twiggy.
Yeah, but when the film was being 61, when it's we would move into that direction, and that's where the ultra skinny models would begin, and then resurface in the 90s. So they were really hot on that type of person, that character.
Fun little ones, couple of ones. Suffolk, where the puppies are rescued, is exactly 101 miles from London. Yeah. And all the male dogs and puppies wear red collars, and the females wear blue. And Mark Davis was the only animator given one character and animated that one character alone. Apparently all the others were all split into teams, and they animated different characters and whatnot. So,
because I know with the puppies, we've mentioned the Xerox process, basically a photocopier. Some of the animation with the puppies at certain points is photocopied and used elsewhere in the film. So when you've got 99 puppies, some of them are doing the same motion as others. I think there's a bit where they're kind of, when they're in the snow and they're scurrying along, they're all photocopied. So some of them you probably had like, say, 15 different designs, and they're just copied and copied, which they do now on the computer. They wouldn't go in and individually animate all of those.
No. And it was a great cost.
Huge cost saving. The spots on the dog, they would get them in the exact same place by using them like a constellation, and you'll see certain dogs with their spots on different places, and it was very much like stars in the sky. I think
you could turn them around, make them smaller, make them bigger, but they're grouped together.
It was the exact same way. And Pongo has the most spots out of all the dogs with 72.
Okay.
Followed by Perdita, which I think has 69.
Apparently someone counted all the spots through the entire film.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've got a life.
I mean,
like,
imagine. You wouldn't want to sit there and count.
Okay, well, this is how many spots.
I couldn't even tell you how many spots there were, because
5. Let's just call it 5 and say they photocopied them.
I liked the way that this was drawn, and although apparently Walt hated
the backgrounds, he hated that background
because they weren't pristine or perfect, whereas
no, it worked.
It did work.
Yeah, because it's a modern film set in modern times about a modern situation in modern backgrounds. It just it worked.
It does feel flat.
Yeah.
But it works. I don't know why, it just does. And I love the way that London is drawn in that film.
I like the fact that the colours don't stay in the lines.
Yes.
I just like that style anyway. That's
and because
just
of obviously using that Xerox way.
Yeah.
Did you notice that like some of the line drawings like kind of move a bit? They're
Because
not,
it's I
and
mean,
I like that because it helped with the movement of a dog.
Yeah.
You know, the animal. I thought it worked.
I mean the version that on Disney Plus is a revamped version.
Yeah.
So they've taken out a lot of the lines on the original
They've tried to clean
film.
it up.
And they've done a pretty good job at it.
Yeah.
I do think that takes away some of the character from the original version that we would have seen on VHS.
Yeah, because I definitely had this on VHS.
Yeah, and I remember there being lines on the dog's head.
Yes.
That's how I found out that you draw a face using a circle and a cross. Yeah. So I do remember them being a lot more, but the cleanup works really well.
Yeah.
I think that's some purists will be like, no.
Yeah.
But for me, no,
it's
I
fine.
agree.
Yeah. I like the way it looks now, but I obviously didn't have a problem when I watched it as a kid with how it looked before.
Walt hated the background so much. So the artist for the background was Ken Anderson.
Yeah.
And
because
Walt...
he was on Sleeping Beauty, but then obviously handed the reins to what was his name again? Irvin. Yeah.
Irvin.
That guy.
Walt said quite loudly that he would never work on one of his animated feature films again. Just before Walt died, so months before they died, Ken Anderson stated that him and Walt had a moment where they were kind of looking at each other. Walt nodded. And he knew that was Walt saying sorry. Basically, that was his way of saying, do you know what? You were right on that.
Okay.
Don't know why Walt just didn't say it. There was obviously some kind of pride or something there.
Yeah.
But for Ken Anderson, at least, he said that when he found out Walt died, at least he knew that Walt died not being angry with him. And that... Reading that and reading those bits, and for someone who gave so much and whose background art I really like, that to me is an artistic choice, which was perfect. For that to be a falling out with someone he admired, but then to have that moment just months before he died, it's a moving story.
But
so
he worked obviously a lot with Walt, so he would have known what that meant.
Yes, he did.
Words,
and
so...
he says that as well, that he didn't need.
Well, another person that obviously has a clash with Disney is this Bill Peet.
Yes.
So he is in this, and he has been around since the early days. Like, he is a Disney legend.
There.
But this and the next film, there's issues between him and Walt Disney. And so for 101 Dalmatians, Bill Peet was assigned the task for writing the story and making him the first at Disney to single-handedly create the story for one of the features. So other people were put as a group, but this one, so he was given the task alone. But it was because of his story and his drawings that Dodie Smith, she's even stated that it was Bill's
interpretation and
artwork. She said that improved her version. Which,
I mean, she loved it.
I mean, that's very rare for someone to.
Yeah, she
can't give someone the compliment of, well, you made my work better.
Yeah.
Like, no one would say that now.
She would write to Walt.
Yeah.
Ongoing, all the way up until his death as well. So after the film was released, she said that she absolutely adored the background. She enjoyed the characters, Cruella.
Yeah.
That she loved every aspect of it. And
why it then went on that she would do a sci-fi sequel, I don't know. I mean, surely having seen those drawings, like, why would you then?
Well, the thing is, 50s to 60s.
I know.
You kind of, you come out of the B-movie era and you're going into sci-fi on television.
Yeah.
You know, in the UK, we would have had Doctor Who, we would have had Quatermass.
Yeah.
There was other things that we would have had. In America, they were still doing things like the Jetsons for younger kids. So sci-fi was a big thing. And we had the space race as well at that point.
Of course, yeah.
So...
Well, the beginning of...
Yeah. Well, it started in the 50s,
Yeah.
so it moved. Yeah. But we literally... It was the in thing.
Yeah.
The very in thing. Like a few years ago, it was all about magic and vampires and things for us at this point. But yes, she absolutely loved every aspect. And why on earth they didn't do anything else with her was just beyond.
I know.
Because at this time, Walt was working towards Mary Poppins. And there obviously weren't that relationship with the writer there.
No.
So it does really, there's a difference.
Yeah.
And I am surprised that she didn't do more.
Yeah, no, me too. Right, before we get on to your facts about the videos.
Oh, yes.
My last one, which is about the Xerox.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just that it will be used until Fox in the Hand. We use that way, the cell overlaying.
I mean, it does give a certain style to that era.
Yeah.
And I actually watched a YouTube video that was saying the beginning of the Dark Ages is the 101 Dalmatians because that's when the quality dropped. But for me, I really like the look and the feel and because it's not as polished.
Yeah.
It feels more homely.
Mm-hmm.
It feels more like there is a human behind it.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I really like that aspect. My last fact before we talk about videos is... Oh, I've got two facts, sorry. So, Hidden Mickeys.
Oh, yes, Hidden Mickeys.
Basically, the cast of Lady and the Tramp turns up again. So we have Jock and Trusty, who are part of the Twilight Bark. Yeah. We have Lady and Tramp, who are in the streets. And one that I missed, but apparently it happens, is Peg in a shop window. I missed that.
And the Bulldog.
The Bulldog,
as well.
I was going to say, and so I missed that one when I was watching.
That look very similar to the Dalmatian puppies,
it's probably
but
reused.
They're just not got spots on them. Yeah, they've been reused.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's supposed to look like labs. But yeah, she's just randomly in there in a doggy basket, surrounded by these lab puppies. And Boris, is it? The bulldog is next door.
Well,
in the window, and they're barking.
Pongo returns the favour because he appears in Oliver and Company.
Yes.
And I believe Peg is in that one as well.
Yeah,
I think she's in a shop window again.
Yeah, it could be. I know,
think...
poor Peg.
I know, she's just sold. Did work out that if Jock and Trusty and Lady and the Tramp and Peg were the original ones from Lady and the Tramp, they would be over nearly 60 years old by the time this film. So therefore they would have been record breakers.
I think they're just in there to be Easter eggs.
They also would have travelled across the Atlantic.
Yeah, I know.
To be sold in a pet shop in London. When Horace and Jasper are watching a cartoon on the television screen, it is an actual silly symphony called Springtime. It's the Dancing Flowers. And I mentioned right at the beginning about cornflake snow, and there's a different thing with snow. So, when Corella and the moving van are driving along, and there's a bridge, and Corella comes off the road into a mound of snow, that car is real. It's made out of cardboard with black lines around the edge. It was filmed in black and white, driving into polystyrene and driving off again. And
so like little
that
bits
was
of polystyrene to make the
polystyrene balls.
Yeah.
And watch it again and you can see it. The snow is darker than the
Right,
rest
okay.
of the snow around it. And the car is brilliant. It looks really, really good. It's the
I did think like, wow, like these action sequences are
Yes.
really impressive for
Yeah.
the time.
It's because they're real.
Right.
It's not the first time that's been used in a Disney film, and it definitely won't be the last. But it was, cardboard with black lines around it, and it makes me wonder why they didn't do more of that to keep costs down.
Yeah.
Because they could have had the car drive around, because some of the bends that Cruella's car does is a bit animated, shall we say, whereas this is very much goes through. It's not on any making of on the Disney Plus, but if anyone's got the original Blu-rays or DVDs, there's a feature on how they did that.
Okay.
And you see the little car.
Yeah.
I say little car, it's a good size.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good size model.
Yeah.
And it just goes into the polystyrene.
God.
So yes, that was my second fact. So not just cornflake snow.
No.
Polystyrene
now.
snow too. 101 Dalmatians becomes the film to have the most sequels and spin-offs of all of the Disney classics.
Is that because of the live actions?
Because of the live actions. So there's 101 Dalmatians 2, Patch's London Adventure.
Yeah.
Which was in 2003, but you also had the 1990s television series 101 Dalmatians.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Oh, it was good.
Was it?
Yeah, and it was the animation of that sequel film as well. So Cruella's style is based on that.
Right, okay.
You had the 101 Dalmatians live action. You then had the 102 Dalmatians live action. You have Cruella, the film. And you also have 101 Dalmatian Street.
Oh, yeah, I've seen these little shots.
There's that.
Yeah.
And also on the Disney Channel films Descendants, it features Cruella and her son, Carlos.
Yes, that's right, because he's played by the boy who passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's the most kind of spin-off.
Sorry, he
sequel.
doesn't play the boy who passed away. The boy who
played him passed away.
Passed away. Yes.
In the parks, obviously we have Cruella having the meet and greets.
Yeah.
We don't see any Dalmatian meet and greets. No. However, if and when you get to Florida, in All Stars movies, not only is there the TV, the Canine Crunches television with puppies around it, that you can be in the TV screen.
Okay.
But one of the giant statues at the hotel on both sides is Pongo and Perdita. And they are huge and they're so impressive. So if you do get to go over to Florida, go to All Stars movies. That's where they are. So they're all kind of like the spin-offs and little bits that we have. It's also 101 Dalmatians becomes 6 different video games.
Oh my god.
And becomes the biggest series of toys in McDonald's Happy Meals.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't know if you ever got them in the 90s. They were little Dalmatian puppies in different poses and things. And I believe there was 69 in the original range. And they did another range which featured some Christmas puppies. And I have the stocking as part of my Christmas decorations. So little puppies. They're all in different things. Some of them are like posing if they're about to pound. Some of them have dogs in the mouth. Some of them are sat up. Have bones in the mouth. Some of them are sat up with a bone with movable arms, so it looks like he's chewing the bone. So yes, it becomes the majority. I can't believe you don't remember them.
I know. I remember the Lion King
ones. It was 1996 to coincide with the VHS. As I looked down to confirm that. I don't remember the Lion King ones.
Because I still have my Scar.
Okay.
Yeah, my Scar toy, because they were proper, like, action toys. They were
Yeah, I must admit, I do think that at this point for Disney, because they coincide the McDonald's toys with VHS releases as well as the films, this was the proper era for me.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously most of them are long gone now.
Yeah, I know.
But I still do have a handful of those Dalmatians.
Aww.
So, videos.
Yes.
Well, basically, the film was re-released in cinema in 1969, 1979, 1985, and 1991. And I mentioned that became the 20th highest earning film of the year in the US. The first VHS was in 1992. That was in the US. We got one a little bit later in 96. However, in 1999, in the US, it was re-released, and it was only available for 101 days.
Oh, wow.
The DVD came out very early for what I consider a DVD release in 1999.
Wow.
And came out in Blu-ray. In the major release was in 2015. However, there was a Blu-ray release before then, which was like a vanilla package.
Okay.
So it was the DVD but on Blu-ray.
Right.
So yes, that's all of the releases, and obviously it was on Disney Plus.
Yeah. Well,
from
I
release
found
day.
a little fun fact about the VHS release.
Look at you with the videos knowledge.
I know. So in 1990,
Yep.
when it was released, I'm guessing this is obviously in America.
Yeah.
Because, like you just said, we didn't get it until 96. The merchandise had to be pulled because of the spelling mistake. It, instead of Dalmatian being spelt I-A-N, it was spelt I-O-N. So you could only get merch after that in either the parks or the Disney store. So any other shop, so like, I don't know if Target was around back then, but all, say Walmart, or like over here it would have been Woolworths,
Woolies,
and Asda.
Yeah, it might not have been Asda. I think that was later.
In America, whatever their versions were that you could buy that did their own merch, that was
Woolies. If you didn't have Woolies, don't even go out.
But yeah, all of that had to be pulled.
Toys R Us.
Oh yeah,
Toys R Us.
There we go.
Yes.
So, if there was planned merch for Toys R Us, for example,
that would have been
pulled.
I must admit, the spelling of that, I spelt it multiple times. It's only when I was doing the essay that I realised it was I-A-N.
Yeah.
So,
what did you think of the film?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun. Yeah, I agree. I don't need the songs, but the animation I really enjoyed. Yeah. The only criticism I'd have with the animation really was the mouth movement of the humans didn't match the speech.
Yeah.
But when it came to the dogs, it did.
Yeah.
So, that was the only thing that I'd kind of do. There was also just a little continuity error that I spotted.
Oh, which is?
Well, there was two.
Oh, two.
So, one, Roger leaves his hat on the bench when he first meets Anita, and yet at the point of the dogs wrapping them round with the leads, he has his hat.
Okay.
So he could have picked it up, I suppose, but
you don't see him pick it up.
We don't see it pick it up, and The other one is when Cruella calls, she says, "I've just seen it in the papers, Anita." And then when Roger goes, she did it, kind of thing. Love that phone call. That, where are they? And she goes, "You idiot." She's like, "Anita."
Yeah.
Anita replies by saying she's already been interviewed by Scotland Yard. So.
Oh yeah, so she'd been interviewed.
She'd been interviewed. She would have already known because she obviously rings when she reads it in the paper.
Oh yeah, true. Oh,
so
that is a
bit of a thing. Now, does that prove that she is a liar?
Yeah.
And actually is meant to be there, or was it just a slip up? Answers on a postcard, please.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I feel the same as you, and I felt there was like some really strong scenes in this. I love that the introduction to the film
that's
comes
brilliant.
with that song and all those spots.
Yeah.
It was it must have been the inspiration for the Monsters Inc.
Yeah,
because it's so similar.
Yeah, which same in style. It's that jazz period.
It's the clarinet that you can hear in 101 Dalmatians, and yet it's a saxophone.
Do you know what? Now you've said it,
it's so similar, isn't it?
I think there's an
Pete
extra.
Docter, the creator of Monsters Inc. If he was a fan of 101 Dalmatians, you can tell, because those two introductions are so...
I've got no idea if he listens to this podcast, but
I don't know.
if he is, he's sat at home going, yes.
I was inspired.
But I must admit, when you said that, I'm sure I've seen a DVD extra on Monsters Inc. where they quote that was the inspiration.
Right, okay.
But...
See, you can't watch the special features on Disney Plus.
No, I know. So for me, it's
hard to
grabbing those Blu-rays.
So good about those.
Yeah.
Because you don't always
Physical.
can't always find them on Google.
I'm an advocate for physical media. Yeah, I really am. Streaming is so much easier, but I do think physical media is...
Or if they could
it's
just
going
put
to stay.
What's on those DVDs on Disney
Plus.
So love that introduction. Like, it's normally you're like, oh...
Yes, I must admit the next one is a bit of a struggle.
Yeah. So love. It's a great start. To me, it's like I'm
already there. I'm already there.
I can't wait for it to start.
Yeah.
And you're getting an idea of the animation, and you're getting an idea of who it's going to be about. Yeah.
It's
really
modern and it fits in, and especially when you watch it so close to Sleeping Beauty. You've got those different styles, and
you've gone from medieval Gothic to present day.
You know,
at that time,
24 months ago.
Yeah.
No, really
love that. And you know the Twilight Bark.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was glued. I was literally fascinated. By all the different dogs.
Yeah.
And seeing. Did you have any favourites?
Do you know what? I liked the little one, but only because, and you know, this is an adult moment, children. So please avert your ears. Obviously, he's a little dog, and there's a big dog with him.
Yes.
And the big dog is called Danny, but I heard it as Daddy.
Right.
Now, obviously, in the gay culture, you've got a little twink with a daddy. So that bit stuck in my mind, but only because of the little twink saying daddy.
Do you know what I loved? One of my favourite dogs that they have, and it's not in the Twilight Bark, but it's when
Lassie.
Yes,
Patrick Stewart. He's not Patrick Stewart,
gorgeous.
But yeah, it's Lassie, but
and
it's
you don't see
those kind of dogs.
It's a collie. It's a long-haired collie. And they're so rare now. Yeah. But really enjoy the bark scene, the Twilight Bark. And then when it gets to the duck and the hound dog, and they're like not sure if the next lot are going to hear, because now we're in the countryside. And then it's this old dog that struggles. And it's the fact that the cat's going, that's a 2 clicks in a wolf kernel, you know,
it's like puddles.
Yeah.
It's stupid in the way that they couldn't have got with the old style of animation, because it's throwaway animation at this point. Yeah. And I mean the bit where Sergeant Tibbs is using the horse's ears as like a trigger to kick the two, and it's like it's like a one-arm bandit almost, and it's just so silly. And it's the bit where they're hiding under the bridge, and it's like, don't be stupid, the dogs wouldn't travel across the lake to hide their paws, they're dogs, it's making fun of its own thing. That actually 30 or 40 years later, when you get films like Shrek, when they're making fun of
Yeah.
the own thing, or
Yeah.
when you have comedies come out even later, so like Miranda especially, when it's a look breaking that fourth wall,
Yes.
it does the same. And it's
Yeah.
actually Cruella that spots the tracks
Yeah.
with the, what do we have here?
Uh-huh.
And it's like, you know, she's watching these black Labradors walking past, and there's clearly 101 of them,
Yeah.
and she's like watching them.
Even watching it today, that scene is so tense.
Oh yeah, I'm on it. I'm like that's.
And I know that they're going to be fine, but still, I'm still nervous.
Honestly, it's a Rachel got off the plane moment.
Yeah, it's like, and yeah, I mean, even though Cruella, you don't see her all the way through. She pops in and out, and
Yeah.
for very short bursts until the end.
Yeah.
When she has the crash, they're so powerful.
Yeah, she's one of the best Disney villains,
Yeah.
and I think this era has the best Disney villains.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we spoke about Lady Tremaine. We
Yeah.
had Captain Hook.
Yeah.
We've got Maleficent. Now we've got Cruella.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it does start to kind of peter off. And I think even
it comes and goes a bit. Yeah.
even the
again.
Renaissance period, those
Yeah.
villains, some of them are brilliant.
Like
Some-
Scar.
Yeah. Some of them are not necessarily in the
Villains.
same lineup.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then for me, it disappears when it gets to
Early 2000s.
the 2000s,
Yeah.
2010. I think it goes completely. So
But that's what makes this. You know, we know it didn't. We've already agreed. It doesn't need the songs. It
no,
doesn't
it
need to be
doesn't
a
need
musical.
those.
But it's because the characters and the story are quite strong.
Yeah.
Well, majority of the characters, the villain.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
The
the villain and the
prominent characters
Yeah.
are strong.
and even
Only
like
if they're
couple
male.
of- yeah, I know. Even like a couple of the side characters. I mean, Sergeant Tibbs. You can't
Oh,
help it,
yeah.
was such good. You
Yeah.
know,
And
and
it's
making a couple of the puppies have their own personalities. Right? I
Yeah.
mean, Lucky. I mean, how many times between
know.
getting stuck in the hole
It's like, I'm so
and falling
cold.
down the stairs, and it's like, I'm hungry, mother. I'm
Oh, that's
hungry."
Roller.
Oh, Rolly.
Roll is the one that
Yeah.
does those. Luck is the one that's always looking up at the TV.
Yes.
And he's the one where he's like, I'm cold.
Yeah.
I'm so cold.
That's
yeah.
Rolly is so funny and
Yeah.
cute.
And when he's trying to get the milk from the cow and he trips off the
I know.
thing, and then she's like, the cow's like, oh,
Yeah.
little darlings.
I know.
That isn't what she wanted to say. And I think that's why this film,
Yeah.
it works. We're in 2024. The film is...
You can watch that now. It's
Yeah.
so... And, like, I've made the point as well that it's still quite relatable today.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have fur, but, you know, as we know in recent times, dogs have become, you know, they are part of the family.
Yeah.
And it's like 1 in 5 have a dog now. And since COVID, especially, we've
Well, yeah.
had like this huge
Well, it's like I mean, there's been an influx of...
Yeah, that's the
because
word.
people were at home. We
Yeah.
thought the world was changing.
yes,
And
and they needed a companion.
Yeah.
And so dogs were, but at the same side, you had the dark side of the dogs becoming popular and how
breeding
people were
for money.
breeding for money and dog napping.
Yeah. Look at Lady Gaga. Luke will be so happy. I've
Oh,
shoehorned her
You
in.
did.
I
but
shoehorned her
yeah,
in.
I mean, even locally, you know, seeing on Facebook that dogs were being taken from outside shops.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, certain breeds,
Yeah.
because of how expensive they were, dash hounds, you know, cocker spaniels,
Mm-hmm.
Frenchies, you know, they were being stolen
Yeah.
because
And the cost of dogs still haven't gone down.
no.
Because we look at, for Labradors, we want a Labrador Golden Retriever
Yeah.
and things. And for the price of what they were when me and Luke first got together
Yeah.
to the price now,
Oh, it's like tripled.
Oh, easily.
Quadrupled.
So when we first looked, it was about 300 to 600. Now it's, I mean, you can get them for, it's going down a bit, but when we looked after COVID, it was just over $2,000.
Oh my God.
So it's not a little,
No.
you know, it's not like they've gone from 300 to $1,000.
Yeah.
It's from 300 to
I've always
2,000.
wondered how much Cruella would have paid, especially at that time, because you're saying now, I think she would have probably paid $2,000 for all 15 in those days.
To be honest, with it being in the UK, in London, and all of the bits, I think if she'd have paid £100, that'd have been a really good price for a dog. Just because when it gets more into the 60s, a working wage for a week is 13 quid.
Right, okay.
So obviously inflation throughout the 70s completely destroys that, but £13 is a working week salary. So going back a bit further,
15,
you know, 15, that's 3 or 4 months of a salary.
Yeah. And as we know, and again, I thought this was quite relatable to today. The fact that Roger is, you know, they're in London.
Yeah.
And he's trying to make a name for himself. He's trying to go with his passion and what he loves doing. And he's, you know, this wannabe songwriter who hasn't had a hit. And, you know, he's now gotten married. And, you know, nothing is mentioned about starting a family. But clearly, like we've said earlier, we think they're maybe a bit older. Maybe they can't have children, so they've gone down the dog road. I've
got the impression that the way that it just describes towards the beginning, it's like, 6 months in, and we're, you know, it was the perfect size. The house was the perfect size for 2 couples starting out, and then obviously Perdita is pregnant at that time.
Yeah.
So I just got the impression that Anita was pregnant too.
Yeah.
I just got that.
We just don't know.
Because, it's not explicitly explained. I think also in the live action, isn't she pregnant in the live action? So maybe I'm mixing the two, or which brings us on to, should it be remade?
Yes. And I'm so glad it was remade.
That 1996 Glenn Close is a movie of its own, and I would say out of all of the remakes that have happened in the last 10 or so years, that is the only one that I would choose to watch over the original. However, I would still watch the original.
Yeah.
I'd have no issue with watching the original on the Saturday
and
the remake on the Sunday.
Same.
Because they're so different but brilliant.
Yeah.
Like,
again, they didn't attempt to go down the musical road, thank God.
Yeah, that wouldn't have worked.
And they really brought it to, you know, at that time, the fact that he does video games,
yes,
you know, and
yes,
like,
and you could play the video games at the time for 101 Dalmatians, because I think the first one came out late 80s, early 90s. So the fact that you can play the game, he's making the game, you've got live action, the video came out at the same time, you've got the 90s TV reboot, you can go to McDonald's and get, because those puppies were in McDonald's for a long time, and books were coming out, you had such a renaissance. And here in the UK we had the Disney store starting to open. 101 Dalmatians weirdly fits in with the rest of the 90s for me, because I didn't know that it wasn't made in the 90s. I thought it was part of the Little Mermaid, the Beauty and the Beast era. That's where it fit with
probably
me.
From when it was released on video and that. It's just combined in our brains that it was all released at the same time.
Yeah. Because obviously for me it fits the style of Robin Hood and Winnie the Pooh, and
which we would have had on
Fox and the Hound, so would have got them at the same time. Oliver and Company was re-released in the 90s, and it all just fit. It was such a wonderful time, and I actually think that this film is part of that. And I think that's why I still enjoy it, because it's such a part of my childhood. And it's a part of other people's childhoods
Yeah.
that are like 30, 40 years older than
Yeah.
me. So,
I mean, we like the we've agreed when we've talked about it in the past that the live action films that Disney did in the 90s were, oh my god,
yeah.
peak.
Yeah.
I mean, not only was their animated films good, but their
Yeah.
live action ones were amazing. And this is a really good example of that, because you know, all the characters, and even though the dogs don't talk,
Yeah. Yes. It's
you
like,
still
what?
get
Yeah.
the same tense that you
Yeah.
feel, and you're still rooting for them to find them and to be saved. And I think what the live action movie does is, we get more Cruella.
I mean, Glenn Close.
Oh, don't.
I mean,
And
I don't know what the film she does, because for me, she's Cruella.
Jasper and Horace are hilarious in the live action. And they're better in the live action
Yeah.
than in
The
cartoon.
Yeah.
And we get a bit more likability with Roger and Anita.
Yeah, we
You
get to
and at
know
the
who
time,
they
those
are.
two actors, you've got Miranda Richardson.
Yep. Who?
No, Natasha Richardson. No.
Is it not?
Is
Oh
it
no, it's not
Natasha or
Miranda.
Miranda?
No, it's. I know that the guy
It's
is.
a Richardson sister.
Yeah.
And it's the guy from Dumb and
Dumb and
Dumber.
Dumber, who was literally just off his peak of that, because
Dumb and Dumber came out
only
like
a few years before. Yeah.
So
So
they were. It was perfect casting.
yeah.
And whereas I think if that had been made today, they would have made the dogs talk, and they would have put some stupid songs in it.
Yeah, and do you know what? The actors that are around now are too serious.
Yeah.
There's not. I mean, I honestly, Glenn Close in this, I don't know if she won an award, but if she didn't,
should have.
I need to write.
Yeah.
I'm writing a strongly worded
When I
letter
went
to
to
someone.
the 100 exhibit, they
Yeah.
had the sketch that Anita does of her in the outfit, and that she changes to spots. And there was some, when before they start filming, they go into the costume department and they take photographs in their costume as their cat. They had them on display, and
See, I remember the car and the van. So it was the car from the first one and the van from the second one being part of the Disney studio tour at Paris.
Yeah.
I loved that car and I loved that tour. I'm glad they've updated it. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, because it was dated.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I loved that. I
Yeah.
loved the aspect, and it's such a shame that they didn't just keep updating it with new things.
I know. But again, that's a film that they used as for when they were, in the parks.
Yeah.
That's a film
Yeah.
that they.
So from that one, we obviously had another live action, which was
102.
we'll skip that one.
Yeah, skip that one.
Which was Cruella.
Yeah.
Now, for me,
Now, you really liked Cruella, didn't you?
it's a perfect film. I think it's because I love the era and the style of that time. I love the music. I love that soundtrack. I think the actress is perfect for the role, but is not Glenn Close. Because if she tried to be Glenn Close, it wouldn't have worked. I think the characters that surround her work. And Emma Thompson as Cruella is so down to earth. It works. Glenn Close is so much better though. But yeah, not Emma Thompson as Cruella, sorry,
Emma
as
Stone.
Emma Stone as
Emma Thompson is
Emma Thompson as the fashion icon, sorry.
the head of the house, the fashion house.
Yeah. She's obviously meant to be what Cruella becomes.
Yeah.
She plays it so seriously that it works. Everything just works. I don't really get the whole mum bit at the end, but the rest of that film works, and it's a different fashion. And the fact it's set at Liberty in London, which is my favourite shop to go in at Christmas. So one of those perfect films.
Wow, a film that you really enjoy,
Yes.
Stephen. I can't believe that.
I know.
Perfect film.
Yeah. apart from Wish.
I don't think we'll
And
ever
Beauty.
hear you say this again.
You
Although-
might do in the
Oh,
Renaissance.
okay,
I
okay.
think there are some perfect films in the
So
Renaissance.
what is your score for this?
My score for this one is 3.5.
Oh.
And the reason it's not higher is because I know what's coming.
Oh, you shouldn't. But
But
it's not like you have to have a number one.
no. What I mean is I compare it to those other things. So there are some films that are going to be 5s. There are some films that are going to be 4s. Is this one of those 4s? No. But it's also not a 3. So it's 3.5 for me. But if we were rounding the numbers around, it would go in the 4 pile rather than the 3. So that's me.
Oh wow!
Well, what
I
about
gave
you?
it a 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to give it a 4.
Yeah.
I just like I enjoyed when I rewatched it, and I kind of wish this was one that my boys would want to put on a lot,
Yeah.
but they don't. Weirdly enough, even though Finley was like when Cruella came on, I mean,
Well, yeah. It's
he was
just
glued,
yeah.
but it's not one that he would put on whereas the next one they do now, which I'm so glad.
To an extent, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Obviously, this is the last but one of this first collection of podcasts.
Yes, yeah, kind of like series 1. We're
Yeah.
going to series 1.
Obviously, next week being the last of that.
Yes, Sword in the Stone.
But we're also looking at some other films. We've got
Yes,
Mary
so
Poppins.
yes, we're gonna have a couple of in between.
Yes.
episodes.
So we're not going away.
No, we're not going away, but
We're still here.
and we're going to Disney. So
Yes, not with each other. We literally
Oh, I know, it's like
miss
literally
each other.
2-3
Like,
days.
yeah.
Yeah, I go away first, and then you're after.
Yeah.
So, and then we've got Easter weekend, and it's just like, right, let's, get Sword in the Stone. We will.
Sword
a
in the
break.
Stone will finish this point of time. It's
Yes.
obviously we talked about it. It's the last one that Walt released in his lifetime,
Yes, we
so
feel
it feels
it's fitting to
yeah.
finish here.
And then we've got the next era, which is the Dark Ages,
Yeah.
which I don't think is the Dark
No.
Ages. I think it's the semi-dark. It's the lamps on,
Yeah.
not the main light
Yeah.
era. So that's where we'll be heading to, but we've got a few little bits
But
in
yeah,
between.
But no, so we still have one more before
Yeah.
we take our break
Yeah.
and have our bonus episodes. But
Yes.
yeah,
And if there's any film that you would like us to have a look at,
yeah. and
rip to
rewatch.
shreds or love or get some facts about, let us know.
Yeah, send us an email.
Yes.
Message us on Threads.
Or Instagram.
Yeah.
Or if you're on YouTube.
Yes, because you can
Message
watch
down
that
below.
thing. Yes. Well,
Well, on that note then,
yeah.
we shall see you in 7 days' time. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, wait. Remember, you need to like, rate, share, subscribe, and write the review.